All right, welcome to a big roast battle recap on Inappropriate, Earl. We're going to talk about last week's amazing roast and the energy and the atmosphere and the overt racism that was throughout the roast. We're going to talk about Josh Meyerowitz completely out of control, yelling battle like a caged animal. And today we have the great Matt Nost here, one of the nicest and funniest dudes up at the store, the great Matt Edgar, whose podcast last week was still getting rave reviews, and we have Autistic Thunder, Joshua Meyerowitz. Guys, welcome to the studios.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Much love. Say much love.
Much love.
Yeah. So the battle, and Matt Nost was in a battle with the great Jason Tebow.
With Tebow.
Mm-hmm. So you've been in the jungles.
It's honestly great choice of words. It is a room full of apes. It is. When you hear the type of jokes that get certain reactions, like you say things, like I wrote one joke beforehand, you're like, oh, this is money. And it did okay. And then other jokes, you're like, this is the meanest thing I could possibly say. And the room just goes nuts. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, I thought it was this type of room, but it is just a room full of apes.
Well, I mean, you lost your battle.
Yeah.
Basically, when in the third round, Jason Tebow dropped the ultimate word for a white person to say.
Yeah. Dropped an N-bomb to close, and then he fully aped out, and he dropped the mic and just looked wild-eyed into the crowd and just screamed. And the place just went crazy. And I have one joke after that, and I was like, I got nothing. There's nothing on this piece of paper that's going to top that.
There's nothing you could have done outside of maybe showing your dick.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
To win a roast battle? No, I'm not.
That's really a Hail Mary there.
That's the ultimate.
Beyond.
I would have done that.
And what happens if it gets... What's that?
I can't even imagine how that would apply.
Showing your dick? Well, you have to do something that's going to get...
that's what I'm saying, but I can't even begin to imagine what would need your dick in order to have a killer burn.
Well, an M-bomb, apparently.
Yeah, and then...
M-bomb from a white man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right in that if I pulled my dick out or something along those lines, because the joke he said had nothing to do to me, didn't apply, but he's appealing to the room, which is smart. So if I do something else that appeals to the room in an even greater way, then maybe I could win it. But yeah, I don't...
You were still in, I'm battling Jason Tebow.
Yeah.
And I have jokes for Jason Tebow where he went trailblazing with this, I guess you guys get one N-word.
You get two, and I used mine in my roast with Boone.
Well,
wait, so you get one each, or you get two a round, or you get two?
Well, I think
they turned it into one, and at this point, I don't think they're even letting you do it anymore because the first time caused quite a stir, apparently.
Well, now you've got like legitimate industry coming to this.
Yeah. So it kind of makes it difficult.
And I don't think Comedy Central or whoever. I think Showtime's coming this week.
Sweet.
On Thursday. There's two battles this week.
Oh, really?
Oh, so who's the Thursday?
I think Thursday is Joe Dosh, very funny gay comic.
Excellent.
Very funny comic. Maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't say gay comic.
Well, now we know where the jokes are going to be coming from.
Right. And Trey Stewart, who was probably most famous for, I don't want to say rape or sexually assaulting someone, but he was took a tourist into the sound room one night. For an extended period of time.
She dropped the charges.
Well, she also went to the sound room with him.
Yeah. No, it's like that. What was it?
I still don't know the whole full story about that at all.
I don't think anyone
That's the long
does.
and short of it. Is that he, from what I understand, he had there's two tourist ladies, and he took one of them, and then the other one blew the whistle, saying, one of your door guys took one of my friends, and now I can't find her. And then, and I think they also were looking for a reason to fire him because he's never at his post or whatever.
And it takes
the politics over there was.
It's pretty impressive to get fired at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
No, come on, man, stop interrupting.
You only have the one mic.
Yeah, well, you got to speak into it if you're gonna.
That's what you only have the one mic.
No, I'm just kidding. I just
I
like
gotcha.
making you nervous, so then you get like fucking.
I know. I start.
That's good. Rattle the autistic guy.
I start stammering like a fucking techno song. I'm like, boop boop. Okay.
So you got what you wanted.
Right. No. I remember the one podcast I did with you and Jeff Richards and Don Barris, and Don just kept looking at you going, what the fuck are you looking at? And you would get all nervous and you'd start like just imploding.
Needless fucking intimidation on Don's part.
Yeah, and Don's an intimidating guy.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
So, all right, let's get to the battle. I thought it was accurately scored.
Didn't we also call it Earl?
I thought I wasn't rooting for either guy.
No, not rooting, but just
But I mean, I like both of them. So I thought in our, you and I did kind of a prediction podcast. I thought it was being pretty fair in my evaluations, and I think you were too.
Now, did you guys predict they'll probably split rounds, but I think Jesus will win?
yeah, we based that off of Jesus having the room on his side, whereas a lot of people would like to see Tony go down.
Well, see, but I heard that Tony had a bunch of his, minions, his red band.
Click clackers.
Yeah, the click clackers,
Is
whatever
that
you want to
they're
call them.
called? The click clackers?
I don't-
Boone calls them.
That's kind of perfect, actually.
I guess there might have been a few there, but I think really what it came down to was, Jesus has literal battle experience.
Yeah.
Um,
He still has the best joke that I've heard on that show.
He has good jokes. He also had, from what I understand, a lot of guys wrote jokes for him. A lot more people wrote
Yeah.
jokes for him.
But he didn't use them.
He didn't use it. I know a couple guys that did.
Oh, yeah, and he didn't use them?
He used like 1 or 2 of the 20 they sent him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they were very mean-spirited, very funny, and I'm not sure if Tony, who's great, he's a great comic.
Can I say Hinchcliffe annihilated in the first round at least?
Yeah, but that's only because Jesus stumbled on the...
Yeah, right out the gate he stumbled, and Bill Burr called it best. He was like Peyton Manning at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He got the safety right away.
He's got happy feet.
Yeah.
He's got happy feet already. Look at him.
And then you could tell he lost his spirit. I mean, it is embarrassing. I mean, that room is so... They really are animals in
Yeah.
there. One stumble and one joke doesn't fly, you're dead. So...
I mean, yeah, that is the impressive thing about that. You need to be perfect every round. Otherwise, any flaw, if the other guy managed to not have a flaw, you're done. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, your joke doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intense in that room.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad, though, because originally they were talking about doing it in the main, that they did it in the belly because that room is much more conducive to that environment.
Yeah.
That's small and closed. The energy bounce off the ceilings. Yeah, it is. It feels more like a basement, whereas the main room's bright and glitzy and the ceilings are huge and you would lose a lot of
Main
that
room's
energy.
hacky. Belly room, that looks like it looks like you have that in a basement. It's actually an attic, but
What's like ECW type of...
it is ECW,
atmosphere.
man. Yeah, it's just that raw, little, sweaty, just dark. I mean, why is even the design of it like? Why would they have the big mirror? Like that mirror that runs along the entire yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like they didn't and actually it wasn't even a comedy room. It was an office. Those were offices. Midseed turned it into a comedy room, and like you could just any room that's not meant for comedy, those are always the better comedy rooms. You know what I'm saying? Especially it's something that's not a comedy show. Like that kind of performance that happens in there for the battle. That wouldn't look good at a comedy club setting, but it does look good in that gritty belly room.
Yeah, I mean...
The stage is like a foot high, and
Hefty bags stapled to the ceiling to maintain the all black.
I mean, two black comics sleeping in the back. I mean...
always.
I gotta say, I'm glad the peanut gallery is a permanent thing now.
You mean the all-Negro way?
Jamar and Trey and Keith Soul.
Jack.
Yeah, Jack Knight, and sometimes Jerron Horton's in there too. By the way, Jerron Horton pissed me off.
Yeah, let's get to That's just one of the more controversial things on last week's roast. You did your usual first thing where you have your hands in the air going
Chanting.
battle.
Yeah, mine's
Jumping
Daniel
up.
Bryan.
Yeah,
Daniel.
yes.
Jumping up and down
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
complete maniac.
Roast.
Hey.
But then I noticed
Battle.
you tried to do it a second time,
Well, yeah,
but you were really animated.
Jeff Ross said to me, when you feel it's right, go for it. But at the same time, I can't feel things through very well, so I probably came in at the worst possible times without even realizing it.
It's just like you stormed the stage, and you were
I just-
like,
I had fun. I was told to have fun with it, and I did.
Well, he had his finger on the trigger the whole time, and he was sweaty.
Also, I had
That's a good analogy.
Also, I had Sandy Danto practically giving me baseball signals what to do. He's like, if I rub your
He's your
shoulder,
third base coach.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Steele. Go. Go.
He's like, okay, if I rub your shoulder, run up or stay here and do the battle chant. If I jab you on the side, that means join the peanut gallery and whatever, or do it from our side of the room. So I would be.
Did Sandy leave?
No, he was next to me the whole time.
Yeah, where was Sandy in the second when you just like stormed out of the bullpen like a bull? I mean, you look like
Did I do the wrong thing?
probably, but it
fuck.
made for a better show.
The timing was off on the second time you went out.
You
You just walked up on stage,
It's
basically.
like a horse being let out of the gate in the Kentucky Derby. You just like stormed out like. Rah!
I mean, I hope in the end, in general, did a good job. I'm not trying to.
Oh yeah, nobody's thinking about it but us.
Yeah, you did a great job, man.
I want to do. If someone gives me a job, I want to do it correctly.
Do you have any special plans for tonight? Are you gonna be a
No,
little
just
more?
the usual and like. I talked to Jamar. He's like, yeah, don't directly join the peanut gallery, but like do it from your side of the room, so it's sort of like peanut gallery in stereo.
Now, the peanut gallery, for those of you who've never been to the roast battle, is the all black section,
Yeah.
and that's to combat my section, which is the whites only table.
I like the inclusion of what's Becky. Like Jamar at some points like has sex with Becky during an awesome burn.
No, I think they're making out, which I was
yeah,
really
no, no,
Oh,
dis-
Becky. Oh, right. Yeah.
Listen, they're Jamar.
When he picked her up and started
Oh,
making
sorry,
out with
oh,
her.
it's disgusting.
That
That's
was hilarious. I love that.
I hate to see those races intermingling.
So,
I like it. The white table has come onto the podcast as well. That's nice.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm in character.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding? I supported Donald Sterling. What the hell's
Yeah,
going on?
The whole way
exactly.
through.
It was a
would-
private conversation. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
no one's going to hear this podcast.
So the Jerron Horton thing was, I realized he was like on the floor because there wasn't a place to sit with the peanut gallery, and I was trying to talk to him during the I was trying to say to him, hey, if I start running up, I don't want to hit into, and all he did was stare daggers at me like I was telling him to like get out of the place entirely, or. I think there was a misinterpretation because he wouldn't let me like get past him to do anything. And we're friends, and it pissed me off, and I was told I was in the right with that.
Do you don't like him because he's black?
You son of a bitch! No, I just said he's a friend. It pissed me off that he.
See, I'm going to edit that part out when you say he's a
Well,
friend.
well, he's then you just bleep it
Yeah.
out. Yeah. What did
And
he
I'll
say?
do a voiceover.
The fix is in, guys.
Yes.
The fix is in. The autistic
He's
guy's
a
racist.
Yeah.
No, you're not racist,
I
dude.
know I'm not.
But you have fun at these battles.
Oh, I
right?
have so much fun. I'm so glad I get to have some sort of official part. Mainly, I just sit there so Adam Eget, the manager, has a place to sit during the roast battle.
Right. That's nice of you.
Well, you hold him a spot.
Yeah, I hold him a spot because once like it gets like a half hour before the roast, everybody's filled in the seats. It's impossible. So Adam has to be there in that capacity at that point, especially like stop people from getting in. And
The thing is, no, he doesn't. He just wants to watch the show like everybody else.
Either way, I like helping him. He's a friend.
Yeah, I'm not against him, but I just like that. Oh, I officially need to sit here and laugh at these jokes. No, you
Part
don't.
of the job.
Yeah.
Whatever. I wanted to help him out as a friend, and so I did.
What is that? Probably, I've been at the store probably 6 years. It's definitely the hottest show I've ever seen there. In terms
Yeah,
of
without a doubt.
consistently hot crowds. I mean, some of the roaster, hit or miss.
But
The atmosphere is always hit though.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
if the
even when
jokes-
it's miss, it's still a hit
even when
room.
it's missed, there's still the racist. There's still Moses keeps it moving. The judges are funny. The comedians, if the roasters aren't good, the judges will rip them. And we're gonna
Hopefully,
get
yeah.
our laughs. We're gonna get our laughs worth.
before we even got here, we were talking about the time Leslie Jones was a judge.
Do you remember that?
Oh, she
when,
was
when
out of
those two
control.
girls went up and they had a horrible roast, just lobbing softballs at each other, and
Eleanor
nobody's hitting. I think it was Eleanor.
Kerrigan, yeah.
It was Eleanor Kerrigan and Leslie Jones, and then Rel, right? That was the.
Ralph. And
so,
Eleanor would like get her even more riled up.
Yeah, Eleanor was just feeding the beast, and Leslie
Literally.
Leslie just. I mean, it made those. She sent those girls home after that. Once
Good.
You guys go home and think about what you did, and they left.
Well,
and
yeah,
went
they
home
just,
to think about it.
I don't think they really are good roaster. You have to have a style of comedy to do.
Yeah,
it's
you
very
actually-
tough. I mean, you've been on the stage. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you just need to be 100% sure of yourself. Because that's the weird thing of I've never said these aloud to anybody.
right.
A few of the jokes that I did, I wrote a couple hours beforehand. You're like, I don't have the slightest clue. You don't know if any of these are going to work. You assume, because we've all been doing this for long enough. I know how to write a joke. I know how to perform a joke. But you still don't know. You're like going up there blindly. That's why I liked Tebow got a criticism in ours in the first round because he read a joke off his phone.
Right.
And they're like, you just read that straight off your phone. And in my head, I'm like, I can't believe he's getting criticized. Why, are we supposed to act like this is our act? Like we've been doing this for 5 years and
Right.
this is our material. Like, yes, I'm reading this off. I fucking wrote this today. Am I supposed to have this memorized?
I mean, I do.
I mean, even an actual roast, there's a dais.
Yeah, and they've got their
everyone has,
cards, and they've got
but I do think sometimes it breaks your momentum, like looking at the sheet and then like, especially on the rebuttals.
Yeah.
Which is, I think is the number one. Like we were talking about last week. I think the rebuttals win you or lose you the roast.
Yeah, more often than not.
Because you got, like, even with last week's, you knew that both had help. I'm sure the people we think helped Tony helped him, and the people. Well, no, and that's I mean, why wouldn't you use people who worked on? And Jesus had more than enough help from many outside freakers.
Yeah, the whole potluck list on his side.
Right, but and also
75% of the Comedy Store.
Well, that's what happens when you create this wrestling heel character. You're going to burn some bridges. And
Number one.
oh, he's great, but you're going to make some enemies, and I don't think any one of us in this room have an enemy. Like,
No.
that's why you were such a hard guy to roast to me, because it's like you're so nice and friendly. You'd be the same way. I mean, you might have a couple targets on you. Just
The one time they were trying to figure out a way I could be in the roast battle because I could never do it. I have the confidence, but I don't have anything else to back it up. There was an idea that Pete C would write my jokes and it'd be me versus him.
I could see that.
That's pretty funny, but it's not good enough for a whole roast.
You're not mean-spirited.
Yeah,
enough.
there's a reason why my apparent catchphrase is much love.
Yeah, he'd apologize after. every
Yeah,
joke.
Joe, especially if it was a really good one. I'm sorry about
So
that.
sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
Everybody's
I'm sorry.
really reacting to
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Much love.
Much love, much love.
Do you have anyone you'd like to roast? You must not like someone up there.
There's plenty. There's a couple.
Hey, you know what? What's funny? One time he was telling me that he actually the only people that he not I wouldn't say you have a problem with,
Right.
but he doesn't like when there's other autistic people around.
Yeah, I said this on stage too.
Stealing your autistic thunder?
I don't like. It steals my autistic thunder.
Yeah.
It's like when dogs get in the same room together.
Yeah, exactly. Like.
Who else is autistic?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of.
People, not too many. Keith Reza, is it? What?
Into the mic.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I'd like to have people hear this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm so excited. I don't even know
much
what I'm
love,
doing.
much love, dude.
No, there's like only a handful of other ones, and there's only like one or two other ones that actually talk about their autism on stage. If anything, at this point, I might, if as far as I know, and I don't mean this to be up my own ass, I might be the only one truly known so far that talks about his autism on stage. But there's this other guy, Keith Reza, I think.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
Oh,
what a
no.
fucking loser. Much love,
I
Keith.
know. Much love.
Much love,
No,
Keith. Much love.
But fuck you. Much love.
Actually, that would be a go. Whoever this guy is, him
Yeah.
versus Meyerowitz.
He would kick my ass. He's a pro comic.
So are you, dude.
No, I haven't earned shit yet.
Well, that doesn't separate you from any one of us.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not an amateur.
I mean,
but,
no
like,
says an Activia commercial still on the books, but
Yeah, thank God.
I appreciate it. I love you guys.
Much love, man.
Much love. I don't have a mean. I could say mean things, but it would just be me being honest without any cleverness.
Yeah, no, you're an honest guy. That's what I like about you.
Yeah. I'm not honest enough to be funny in a roast. Maybe in a stand-up set itself, but not in a roast.
I mean, well, I think it's inevitable that we're all going to have to get up there at one point. They're going to run out of people. Like,
Well, the thing is, like, you run into like what they had with Matt Taylor, and
that was awful.
yeah, because guys are going to be shitty at it. So it's kind of like you need to keep finding guys that want to do it and actually will show up, will do the preparation. I think you're going to burn guys out because I think Jesus is done. I don't think he's going to do another one. I bet you Pete does a couple more, but he's got to be starting to get tired of doing them.
Hormos.
Yeah, Hormoz is probably burnt out.
Can I say? I hope at one point they actually bring in not famous but like they bring in like the OR guys like Dalia or Burr. If you could get Burr to fucking be on the roast battle.
I think you do that when it gets on TV.
Yeah.
I figured, but like if you give it a little more.
If it's in the belly room, we use belly room comics.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But it would be funny to see like Dalia go up against, I don't know, like Brian Callen.
I'm calling out Tommy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be excellent.
Oh.
Or Earl as Mommy Tours versus.
There'd be a lot of people lined up to battle Tom.
Yeah, that would have to be a main room show.
What if Tommy beats the shit out of me?
Never
mean,
look. Mitzi says that he's
well.
the funniest one.
Well, he told Barry.
If Mitzi says,
Yeah,
Well, something black people.
Well, you got me on that one, Tommy. Let me get to the haircut, and then
there's
there
so
he is
much.
right there.
I would love to see Tommy roasted because there's so. If you think that Jesus got a lot of outside help, whoever is
Oh my
battling
God.
fucking Tommy,
Oh,
I'm
man.
emailing that guy 15, 20 jokes.
You'd
Hey,
bring-
go. Here's all the shit that I've said to him personally, and here's all the shit that I would love to say to him.
You'd bring an encyclopedia on stage. So, just turn to page 8 for this joke. And I mean,
Yeah,
just-
nonstop.
yeah, old paid regulars coming out of the woodwork.
Oh my God, you'd have like Barry
The
Diamond.
return of Rick Ramos.
Yeah, fucking Barry Diamond paging you his jokes and.
I just love that, like, Bilak one time was driving by the store, and he fucking just parked right in front, ran up the steps, looked Tommy right in there and went, fuck you, and just walked right out, got in his car, and
left.
drove off.
He probably got passed.
Yeah, that's true.
Lester would be totally into it if I remember his whole thing, how he got to be a paid regular.
Is Joster Lester a paid regular?
I thought
He should be.
Yeah, I think he maybe at least in Friends and Family. But if I remember, it was him. He said something about like at one point he just started yelling at Tommy. He's like, "Why aren't I paid regular?" Blah, 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 blah.
I think that's. Oh, look at that. I think that's. I'm sorry. I'm watching the
Oh,
Kings.
no, it's cool. I might
also
have
watching
it.
the Kings game.
We got the King game on with muted. Kings won last night.
and they're
they're
about
up
to win right
2-0
now.
in the series. That black player just scored a goal. So speaking of Tommy, it's just
Yeah.
What's this world?
Black comes
Tommy,
up and-
no.
and a black guy scores a goal. He's half black though.
I thought the blacks don't play
I think
hockey.
you're. By the way, Josh, I think you're talking about Jamar.
No, Jamar. Jamar just became paid regular, but I never.
Yeah, but
And
he
Moses.
was always calling out Tommy from the stage.
Right,
Why
and
are you
from-
passing me, Tom? Before he was a paid regular.
Oh, well, his Twitter feed. Like, I'm not on Twitter, but enough guys
he
are like,
posts shit tons.
dude, you got to see it at like 1 a.m. And I just got logged on Twitter a couple of times. Just be like, hey, Comedy Store, why don't you just go tell Tommy he's a racist piece of shit? And just like, hey, Comedy Store, just like
Yeah.
nonstop.
Tommy put his boogers on Angelo's name on the wall.
I would probably say a bunch of things about how he's two-faced and is probably never going to give me a real chance.
Who?
It's Tommy.
Well, I don't think he's two-faced. I mean, I'll stick up for him from the standpoint of it's got to be the toughest job in the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tell
I agree
hundreds
with
of
you.
comics a week no.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I don't like the guy at all, but his job is pretty impossible.
I mean, I was there one night by the booth when one of the comics he gives probably the most amount of spots to said, I want to go on now. And then an A-list comic came in and kind of said the same thing. And then a second A-list comic was like, so he had to deal with 3 comics giving him shit. And it's like, wow,
Yeah, and it's not going to end.
I can't imagine what potluckers and open micers say to this guy,
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I do think he could go about it in a better way, but
It's one guy in charge of every single piece of that lineup in the original room all week. And from, like you said, A-list comics to primetime paid regulars to the late night guys to potluck open micers to friends and family to employees. This guy has to run the roster for all of it, all across the board.
Right.
And also maintaining the, the social standard of not being racist because he's been called that a million times. So he's got to, I'm sure there's a quote of at least 3 new black paid regulars a year.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the last two comics he's passed have been black. I mean,
That's good. We're
Yeah.
good for the rest of the year, I guess.
That's got to bother him too.
another 2 weeks, it's gonna look like the Congo in there. But
Oh, have our own version of 227.
I'm gonna have to change my character in the roast battle. I mean,
Hey man, I like that joke. Just
yeah,
like,
man,
Speaking
well,
of which, did you guys see what happened with Leslie?
oh
I
yeah,
heard-
all the
I didn't-
brouhaha over
Yeah,
or doing the Mandingo bit.
the weekend update thing. Did you see that?
what happened? What happened? I didn't see it.
Well, she did a spot on Weekend Update where basically she did. I think that was part of her act.
That
too.
was well. They told her because I've seen her do it. Them do it with other comics. Like, do you know Brooks Wheelan?
Yeah,
Heard of him.
Full
Yeah.
cast member. On
Yeah,
like Leslie.
but he started as bit player and writer, and they came to him. They're like, hey, just do this bit on Weekend Update. So they came to Leslie and said, we'd like you to do one of your two bits, either the race bit or that texting bit. And according to Jeff, told me that she said that you tell me which one to do because I love both of them and I will do whatever you want. So they said, do the race bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead and finish.
Well, yeah. So she does the race bit, and right now she's hearing a bunch of shit from it. I guess.
Well, like,
But what's the bit? What's the gist of the bit?
Well, basically, the idea is that if she was in the slave days, how they would have bred her with other big Mandingo-like slaves,
Which is
to
true.
which is absolutely true. Yeah. So, but then it had something to do with what was her? Who was the person that won most beautiful woman of the
it
year?
was something Lapido.
Patrick
yeah.
Ewing.
Yeah. She's like you think she's beautiful? Like back in slave days, I would have been.
Well, yeah, I want like she wins most beautiful. I want to win most useful.
most useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, there's just some lonely website, jasmine.com, or not Jasmine, what the
Jezebel.
no, it's not even that. It's
I don't want to-
ebony.com.
Right.
Yeah.
Ebony.com. And it's I guess it sounds like it's probably a black publication that,
It is.
that needs content
Famous one.
that really needs content badly to where the second they have a window that they can make something racist or jump on it, they're going to attack, and that's what they're doing. Problem is, this is Saturday Night Live. This isn't just Leslie Jones. Like you
Right.
said, there are options. They dwindled it down all the way to
Yeah.
this is the joke that you're going to do. She's just the quarterback playing out the play. The
Yeah,
coach
she got. Yeah,
made
they
the
called
call.
her in. This is what we want to do.
And now since she's the face of that, she has to hear about it, and it really chaps my ass because it's the same old thing. Like when are we gonna get better? When are we gonna get better? It's Saturday Night Live. It's a comedy show. Nobody's getting hurt here. How are we taking offense to this? This is a black lady talking about. This is a black joke of hers from a black perspective. I just don't see, and that the black website is who's attacking her for it. It's lack of content for this website. That's the only thing. It's just this. They need something.
Yeah,
To
they got to generate traffic to
they
their
gotta
site.
generate traffic. This is let's attack this thing that happened on SNL. It's big, and now it's in the news. And of course, there's white people are gonna get upset about it. And there's all these lonely people that are coming out of the woodwork. And I will always say that it has to do with the desperation for content. Leslie gave it to them.
Well, yeah, it's like,
Dying days of the paper magazine.
Yeah, man.
what the hell does that have to do with
Well,
it?
actually, I think
That's what I'm saying.
it's a website, but I hear what
okay.
you're saying. Yeah,
I
this
thought they would
Ebony.
put an actual article in print.
Well, you are right. Paper magazine. I still don't know how that newsstand by the store is in business. Who buys some?
I don't know. There's a couple of them. There's one on when you were coming across Coldwater. There's that one right next to CVS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
there's-
famous one.
There's one down on Brea. That's right across from that McDonald's.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, just like there's nowhere to park. I don't even understand how people would come up, but it's there. Yeah, I just don't understand how anyone still has, or like why does Hustler or Penthouse, like
Yeah, why? Definitely.
how do they still exist? Like Playboy, I can kind of understand because the articles and whatever else. You could-
subscriptions maybe just to have something on your table?
who has a subscription to Penthouse or Hustler?
Oh, exactly.
I do.
yeah, you're the one. You're the one.
I recently read an issue of Playboy waiting somewhere, and there's barely any nudes in it at all anymore. It's a full-on, just regular like.
Well, that was
article
Playgirl you were reading.
magazine. Yeah, those
Much
guys
love.
are hot. Much love.
I knew a guy who had to do the centerfold for Playgirl, and they told him to go in his car and jack off and get hard. That shows you You know.
My favorite thing, wrestling related, is anytime someone makes fun of Shawn Michaels for being in Playgirl.
Did he show his dick?
I would assume so.
What did you
Can
see
we
it?
pull it up?
Okay, well,
Yeah, let me go
you guys
online.
pull it up
I
because
thought you would like that tidbit. We were talking about it.
Yeah, no, it had a lot to do with what we were talking about.
Sure, yeah. Playgirl.
Talking about Leslie
I'm
Jones.
just gonna.
We went from Leslie Jones
To Shawn
to
Shawn
Shawn
Michaels
Michaels'
nude.
dick.
I mean, that's inappropriate, but you know, that's
Hey,
hey.
listen, I'm gonna just sit over here and leave my autistic thoughts to myself.
I mean, no, don't
I'm
be
fucking
like
around, man.
don't be like Gabe. I had Gabe on the show. You
Gabe
guys know
Killian?
Gabe.
I'd probably
and-
talk
Powder?
your ear off.
oh my god, that guy's the worst podcast.
How, you had to
but-
press pause. a bunch?
So, what do you do?
Well, we're doing a UFC recap, and a bunch Chris Edwards and a couple other comics who are into MMA came over, and they'd all talking to the mic. Then Gabe would talk. He would point the mic away from his mouth like he was asking someone else a question.
he's got his own style, you know.
I'd be like, Gabe, who do you think won the Overeem fight? And he would be like, well, I think,
He's also very soft-spoken, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you guys are all established comics. You guys know how to talk into a mic. You know, Jared Levin was on this podcast, and he like, she told me to come in her, and I came in her, and then we were in Oregon. He was holding the mic at his dick. You know, so some people, you know, that's why some past episodes the sound quality varies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I'm working on it. You know, it's not easy running this thing.
It's a work in progress.
Well, yeah, I mean, I never really realized how hard it is to get people to come here, and don't pick your dick,
My
dude.
balls are itchy.
Yeah, go,
Still
like
up.
I'm putting my hand in my pants.
Well,
You got a nice setup.
I mean, you know, I'm trying to make this like the Chelsea lately show, but funny. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
I appreciate all the Conn Smythe awards that you've got everywhere.
All my hockey
they're all-
trophies.
Yeah.
They're all.
I haven't
cunts.
looked at it. What did you win all these for?
These are all scoring titles.
Wow,
and,
dude, there's 8 of them that I can
there's
see.
A couple over there, and you know, it's
no shit.
probably the only non-comedy thing I do is playing this hockey league on Sundays.
How long you been doing that?
A long time since.
Well, you have at least 10 scoring titles. So, do you guys run 2 seasons a year or one?
we run like 4 seasons a year, and if you doubt my word, go to SoCalStreetHockey.com and you look at
Just a picture of you.
look in the bronze and copper divisions. And you see Daddy at the top, and we have like pros who play in this league. So
What?
it's like it's ball hockey, it's foot hockey. So you're on a
Oh, there's
roller.
no skates or
No, it's actually tougher because you have to run. I mean,
Okay.
and a lot of pros in the NHL play in the summer, and you should see these guys play on foot. It's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, there's like I've seen the what is his name? Kane from the Blackhawks.
Oh yeah,
I saw some video of him just doing stick drills around
those hundreds of pucks?
Yeah, and he's just going. It was amazing, flat out amazing. That ability is incredible. And
Yeah,
just
it-
going around like nonstop, where the amount of focus it would take to even start that, let alone be that amazing at it, I can't even fathom how long it took.
and the fact that they're doing it on a sheet of ice.
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Oh,
if
my.
you've ever ice skated, it's pretty fucking difficult. So
Yeah, they're going backwards just as fast.
yeah.
I always figured you were a hockey player, but I always thought you were like the goon.
I used to be back in the day.
What's
you know,
a goon?
the fighter. You know,
Yeah,
there's
the guy who
oh,
just picks fights.
there's fights in this league. I mean, you know, it gets very
hockey.
serious.
Really?
Oh yeah, like we have a guy who plays on the Detroit Red Wings. He, you know, he brings his mindset to the league. I mean, it's like he's very serious, and even playing ball hockey on Sundays, he threatened to kill a guy one day.
So bronze, copper. Is there a silver and a gold?
There's gold. I don't play in the gold anymore because it's too early in the morning. It's
What
like
time's it start?
9 a.m.
Oh, fuck that!
I can't do that.
Yeah, which means you got to get up at like 7 or 7:30 to get your shit and
Yeah,
go.
because it's in Orange County too, so it's a 45-minute drive, and but the gold to see a gold division game, like, you know, it's pretty amazing.
What town in Orange County?
Garden Grove.
Oh, nice. Off the
Okay.
22.
Yeah, it's first exit off the 22, and it's like how you guys play basketball. It's like my basketball league,
Yeah.
but it gets pretty dirty, and there's fights, and you know.
When was the last time you fought?
It's been a while for me. When I got choked out by a cop.
With hands or stick? Like,
Well, it
was
was
he-
a big scrum in the corner, and I was probably talking a little too much shit. And, this guy just choked me out.
Oh, damn.
And he's a little guy too, probably like Pete C size.
No shit.
Wow.
But not nearly as like muscular, and he just got me, and I went limp instantly because he put me in the perfect chokehold.
And you were actually out? Like,
Oh
you got-
yeah, I was out.
Did
And,
he hit you from behind?
yeah, it was crazy. It was just like a battle royal. Just all these.
Oh, okay. So he just.
Fucking melee.
Yeah, it was just a melee, and then he had when I came to, he had my glasses in his hand, and I roll high dollar glasses, and I'm like, please don't break those, dude. Those are my favorite pair, and he gave them to me. He could have been a dick.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah,
a
well,
cop?
he already
sure.
choked you out.
Yeah, he already embarrassed me. and
Yeah, exactly. There's no point in breaking your glasses. This isn't high school.
I haven't fought since.
Oh man.
You just never know. The little guys are probably the most dangerous.
Yeah, they're wired.
Yeah.
Gotta make up for their size.
You don't know who knows what too.
These days, like I was fucking around with Ryan O'Neal in the parking lot.
Oh,
he,
I wouldn't fuck with him. He's
he
like
takes
trained.
MMA.
Well, yeah, I thought, he was doing jujitsu or
Pretty
something.
high level, and he could have killed me. Like we were just.
Well, isn't he also a black belt in something else? Like if he's doing MMA, that's in the last few years. When I met him, he was already a black belt in like I don't know, karate. Or
Yeah, I want to say jujitsu, but I don't know for a fact.
But
Yeah.
that's a guy who you would look at and not be necessarily physically intimidated by.
Yeah, it's like looking at me. You're like, yeah, no, I'm not afraid.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
He's got he on the outside it looks like just an average build. He's what, 6 foot?
He's
Yeah.
a tall guy, but yeah, definitely. And it's funny because he talks so much shit too. So you'd want to strike him, but it would be way worse than.
Well, yeah, it's
just
smart
taking
then
the
that he
shit
beefed
talk.
up because him and Danish talk more shit
Oh yeah.
than most anybody else.
They would be
And they're
great
the best at it.
to roast each other.
Oh, they
I don't think they
Or
could.
a tag team roast.
well, they wanted to do a tag team roast. I guess I probably shouldn't say it, but anyway,
I'd do it.
when they were judges, they had talked about it while it was going on that they were going to stand up at the end and challenge Jeff and Tony. We want you,
wow.
next week or 2 weeks, and everybody's going to go, oh, Jeff is going to win this. If there was a money line, I would put it on Danish and O'Neal.
Yeah.
Just on depending on who you got as judges, but fucking those guys pound for pound.
Right.
I don't know many people that could hang with them in that format.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I really wish Jesus would have gone to some more of their jokes, because I think it would have been not necessarily a blowout win, but I don't think Tony's used to people talking to him like that.
True.
I mean, Kill Tony, he's kind of shitting on open micers, and they kind of take it, and then because they want to get on the show again and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and that would not be the case with Danish. and
No,
O'Neal.
Danish and O'Neal, they do not like him. Not like on a personal level. They don't think he's funny, as far as I know. So just they're going to tear into him. They're going to rip him a new asshole.
Well, I don't think they don't like him on a personal level either, but
Well, I didn't want to say that, so I wanted to give them the leeway just in case they did.
they're pretty open about it.
Yeah, they are.
And, so, I mean, I saw the list of about 15 jokes that Jesus didn't use.
Oh, I've got them
Wow.
on my fucking phone.
Oh, they're great. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a little heavy on one particular subject.
Yeah.
But,
A couple of those were fantastic.
Tony's sexuality.
Yeah,
But Tony did great. He did better at the rebuttals than I thought he would.
Oh, I actually had more faith in his rebuttals and his jokes.
Oh yeah,
He's good at that. I mean, dude, the guy Tony, like him being this joke writer type, writing for The Burn, like that's only in the last few years. I've always thought that the funniest he is in crowd work and riffing. When he really lets go like this, he just got all this inspiration from Jeff Ross to go down that path,
Right.
the roast path, and that's just kind of where he is now, and he's settling in there pretty nicely. Like he works on all those Comedy Central roasts and like also like private roasts and stuff. Jeff, I mean, he definitely does a lot of roast writing,
Oh, he's very good
but
at
he's
it.
really good at just the riffing. He just is. Some people just are able to calm down in the midst of the danger of being on stage and listen to whatever heckles coming out of from the audience, and he's good at reversing. He's like Chris Benoit.
Yeah, or Dean Malenko.
I was gonna say Dean Malenko.
I mean, I don't know if Benoit, where was the kids' tag team partners? All I got to say. I mean,
I was talking to Danish for like an hour. Oh, I'm sorry.
Much love.
Much love. I was talking to Danish for like an hour plus about pro wrestling the night of the roast last Thursday. We had fun, and I kept bringing up the indie wrestling. I finally got tickets.
I owe you $36, by the way.
It's fine. Anyways.
Okay, never mind. Then.
Yeah.
Well, then you don't know.
No, you do.
love.
Much love.
Much love. I've only.
Oh no, you owe me.
I've only given you like thousands.
You owe me.
I've only given you like thousands of dollars worth of clothing, but that's anyway.
But hey, it's all
Much
good.
love, though. Much love.
Do you
love,
want
much
me to pass on it? Because I'm not a dickhead. I'm not going to...
Well, I wouldn't say that.
You're just fucking with me. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Anyways. No. I'm
Much
glad
love.
there's...
So you were talking with Danish about pro wrestling.
Yeah, for like an hour plus. And
Danish?
Yeah.
He
I
likes
know.
pro wrestling.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
MMA, I know he's
We're
a big
talking
fan
about
of.
black hair and beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking for like an hour plus about pro wrestling. I was telling him about the indie wrestling show we're going to.
PWG, right?
Oh, yeah. So much fun. You're going to love it. It's not the open mic of pro wrestling.
I like that you call it that though.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming
But
from.
I mean it like, there's good open mics, and there's, like when I saw
Yeah, but this
Angelo
isn't-
Bowers at the
this
open
is-
mic,
Right.
this
This
guy's
is
great.
like this is Meltdown.
Yeah.
This is an actual. These guys are pro wrestlers. They're professionals.
Yeah.
You're not watching like an audition.
You're watching the guys that make the WWE good.
Yeah.
Well,
these days.
I don't think the WWE is good anymore.
No, it lacks mostly, but it really what makes it shine is all the indie guys they've hired.
I'd say in the last 2 to 3 years, it's gotten better than.
Oh,
It
yeah.
has got. I do like the shit. Now, are you a wrestling fan, though?
I used to be. I don't watch it anymore.
See, that's where I almost fall in line. I mean, I watch a little bit.
Yeah, when I was a
like,
kid, but like when Jimmy Hart walked past 2 weeks ago or whatever, just
Oh, you lost your
hang.
shit.
Yeah, I turned around and was like, "Look, I've met countless celebrities hanging out at the store, and it's just like, hey, how you doing? Don't really care." Jimmy Hart walked up. Holy shit! How are you, man? I
now
fucking
for the South.
exactly as you would picture him too. Slight hunch, 50 some odd years old, 5'4", talks the exact same way he does on TV. It was awesome. It was meeting Jimmy Hart, talking to him for 10 minutes.
The reaction people get from like when you see if you're a kid pro wrestling fan to the reaction you would give somebody who is like a famous actor or something. There's a difference. Like a famous actor, like, oh no, that's no way. That's fucking that's I don't know, Meryl Streep or that's some actress. When you see a pro wrestler, you have a lifetime of following this person, growing up on these people. So when you see them, that is true starstruck, right?
oh yeah,
there.
dude,
Like,
meeting Piper for the first time when he started coming
I
around.
gotta talk about that.
Yeah, just like, oh my God, right? I text my brother after I met Piper the first time. He's like, you'll never guess who I just spent 20 minutes with.
he I got him to call my dad. He left a message to my dad.
By the way, that serves as what we call marking out.
Marking out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like if you're
The term
Mark.
you're
You
marking.
you act
You're so
like a wrestling
excited.
fan.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Simone introduced me to Piper, and I got a great story out of that. I shake his hand, and now I'm very uncomfortable shaking people's hand because I never know how tight or how long I'm supposed to hold on to. So I literally say out loud to Piper as I'm shaking his hand, "Are we going on? Is this too long?" And he looks at me, smiles, and goes, "I'll let you know when."
Much love. Did you say much love?
As
to
he's
him?
shaking his hand. So imagine meeting somebody the first time, and he's like, "Am I shaking your hand for too long?" He's like, "I'll let you know."
Right. I can't imagine you saying that.
Storyteller.
No, that was a good story.
But like, I missed the night Slaughter was there.
Well, that
And I
was the
saw
night
that
of my
picture.
life.
that was-
Yeah,
So awesome.
because I saw the set you did. Somebody videotaped that.
Sheezer. Sheezer had the foresight to tape magic happening.
But then Slaughter was there. I was like, I would have loved to have met Slaughter.
He was great.
He was great.
Yeah, I mean, Piper I'm more excited by, and Jimmy Hart and a couple other guys, but Slaughter's still, for that, like, whatever, 2-3 years, he was huge.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like meeting a superhero.
It is.
Yes, that's it.
I remember you, and I really felt for you when Warrior died a couple weeks ago.
I was sad, man.
Yeah, and when I was talking to you, you cried a little bit. It was cool.
No, I cried at the.
No, but you did think that you're capable of it. You have a very tough exterior.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Still, though, your Warrior at the Chic Roast was my favorite part.
God.
My
So
favorite
mad I
part.
missed that.
That
So
part was.
mad I missed
I mean,
that.
there were other
Don't
other
tell
people did
Hinchcliffe
great.
that.
Well, I thought he did well. Actually, I was surprised.
He did kill.
I was surprised by how well he did. I mean, he did the smart thing of, I am directing these jokes at people I know on this dais, and I'm kind of staying away from the people that I don't know.
Right.
Which is smart because he had better jokes for those. But you as Warrior just staying in character the whole time, and then out of nowhere every once in a while just amping back up to get except for
What's
no
really,
reason.
My favorite part about this is when Tony filmed his set on that, but it's from the side.
Right.
They didn't have the camera down the center. It's from the side, and to his right side, you're standing behind him in the full Warrior, with the makeup and everything. And as he's doing the most distracting thing is right behind Tony. You could tell the paint had sweat into your eye, and you're just like, it looks like you're crying. And you're like pulling the paint out of your eye. Just, oh man.
Then I got yelled at for wiping the makeup off, and I couldn't see, man. It was like fucking paint in my eyes, so I was like wiping my eye on the curtain, and like.
Who yelled at you?
Can you
The
imagine
sound
wrestling
guy,
like
Dan,
that?
He was really cool.
Danny.
Not Danny. Who's the other?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Really sweet guy.
Yeah.
Damien.
Damien.
Yeah,
there you
he's
go.
an awesome dude. But I just I fucking and Brutus Beefcake poured beer in my eye after he went up there and bombed for 10 minutes. It's like, don't get mad at me.
Well, dude, half that show bombed for 10 minutes apiece.
Well, Adam Richmond, who's got his own problems right now.
Exactly.
No, we're not going to discuss that.
Wait,
I wasn't
Can I
in the
just say
room.
this? I had a show, some bar show in Culver City last night, and the comedian was bringing up somebody. He was bringing up somebody who's on. He just found out that he's on this next season of Adam Devine's House Party.
Okay.
But the MC messed up. He's like, this guy's on Adam Richmond's House Party.
I'd watch that show.
And then he goes, I mean, not Adam Richmond, Adam Devine. And then he goes, nobody wants to be at Adam Richmond's house party. And the whole room laughed as if they all knew exactly who
Well,
Adam
it's a
Richmond
big
is,
news
what he's
story.
going
I mean,
Well, yeah, at least in our world, it was huge.
I mean, I think the trial is. I think it's this month. I think.
I don't know. I mean, I know he's facing potentially like 20 years minimum in jail.
What?
But
Well,
I
one
mean-
charge carries 15 years, and the other one, he's got 2 felony charges pending.
And
Oh
as
my
for those of
God.
you out there who don't know, Adam Richmond, famous stand-up comic, and according to the articles,
Yeah, it's a stretch.
he had a situation at a comedy club in Minnesota that may or may not have happened, and the trial is about to start, where a comedy club waitress has some scandalous allegations.
Well,
and-
the problem with Adam's already copped to some of it.
well, it's on tape, the 911 call.
Well, plus he was drunk when the cops showed up, and they asked him like, "Hey, do you think you were being too aggressive?" And I think he says, "Maybe a little." You're like, "Oh, dude, you got to just not say anything."
Well, I think he said something along the lines of, he said that, and I don't want to, it's not a direct quote, but something about I get horny when I'm drunk. Or
I get
something.
excited when
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
drunk.
and it's like, Jesus, dude, shut up. You're
Yeah,
no
exactly.
OJ.
Just fucking plead the fifth, man. You do not
Plead the
self-incriminate.
fifth.
I mean, I don't, he's a first time, well, if it happened, I don't know if he gets jail time, but it's
I
gotta
doubt
be-
it, man. I mean, like, did anything actually happen?
I don't think it has to, though. That's the problem.
But what is the,
And I guess the judge is just headhunting, or the prosecutor is just, for some reason, has it in for this guy.
well, who
Well, he
doesn't?
It was
He might have been in the crowd over the weekend. So this guy's fucking. He's raping me with my ears.
Yeah. I mean,
Fucking.
he did not have a good set at the Iron Sheik roast, and I know in his heart he thinks he had the best set.
Oh, dude.
no.
Listen.
But
Have
I
you
just
ever
kn-
seen him have a good set? I've done probably 10 shows with him, and all 10 have been just tough to watch.
I mean, if he was humble, I would say, yeah, he had a good set, but he's got.
at the battle. At the roast.
Oh, I absolutely think he thinks he had the best set that.
Oh, dude,
my
he had-
God.
He had a worse set than the Sultan of Sunset Strip guy.
And that guy was, at least looked like he was having a good time.
Yeah.
And I mean, he made Beefcake's set look like a Carlin special.
His set was terrible.
Well, I don't think he was a wrestling fan, so
Yeah, he just
Yeah, so what was he doing on the show?
He swindled his way on this show. And
Why-
He wasn't like, dude, you got to give up for Hinchcliffe because he worked his ass off for that. That's all he cared
absolutely.
about for weeks for that. He
And it
wanted
showed.
so bad. He loves the Iron Sheik. He loves Brutus Beefcake. And he went into it prepared, where this guy just shows up and just rattles off a few hack wrestling jokes and gets nothing. And God, to think that he thinks he did good, man. I hope he goes to jail just for that, not even for the rape.
Jail him for the Sheik roast, not the.
To paraphrase the Iron Sheik, fuck the Adam Richmond.
Well, you're no Melissa Villasenor with that impression.
Listen, I'm trying to do something.
Yeah, get involved. You know, there's 3 mics, but there's 4 of us here. You got to step it up.
I hope I'm doing good.
You're doing all right. You know, I wouldn't say good yet, but I mean, just retweet this a million times.
Just surviving.
So, yeah. You,
Unlike one Adam Richmond, I tried my best to be humble about everything.
right. So, like, if you were cocky, I would say you were bombing right now. But since you're being nice about it, you're still bombing, but at least it's tolerable.
Wonderful.
I'm just kidding.
You're getting through it.
Soul is my soul bleeds. It's all good.
You sound like the Warrior on his final speech.
It was like,
Are you going to die tomorrow? No.
Dude, I watched that.
If that happened, I'd probably. No, I'm kidding.
I watched it because I talked to Ingram the next day, and he's like, dude, go back and watch that because basically he's doing his own
Eulogy.
Yeah, his own eulogy. Thank you. And it's just like, really? And then I saw Pete like an hour later. He's like, yeah, you got to see it. So then I
That's
went and watched
amazing.
it. Yeah, it is, man. It is. These are my final words. I will live on through you. And then just fucking, mysteriously dies. Which, give it up to WWE. That's great writing. That is great writing.
They've really
They
committed
did.
their storyline.
I mean,
Exactly.
they do kill you, but they give you a hell of a send-off. I mean, they give you the best tribute. you
Yeah, I
know.
mean, he had what? What was it? What was the event that weekend?
Well, the Hall
Royal
of Fame,
Rumble.
which
Yeah,
was
the
a
Hall
big
of Fame.
deal because he had hated ever since the steroid trial in '94, when everyone was ratting on everyone, like Hogan's doing roids, or Warriors doing roids, whoever else was Macho Man. So no one, that whole group, just the grudge from '94 on.
Can I
And
say that? Yeah, and if you are a guy like allegedly killed people like a Carlos Colon, you get in the Hall of Fame too.
yeah. Well, that's an interesting twist on the steroid trial, but you're right.
No, I'm just saying, in guys who are kind of known for doing some pretty illegal stuff in the past are getting a positive spotlight shown on them instead of being like holding contempt of some sort.
Well, I mean, it was a big deal that Warrior, they hated each other. If you ever have, even if you're not the biggest wrestling fan, I think we talked about it. The Warrior shoot video on Hogan is the best. He means every word he's saying.
They originally wanted Hogan to be the one that inducted Warrior, and Hogan would not do it, and Warrior wasn't happy about it either. They eventually settled on Linda McMahon for whatever reason.
I
Kind of
think
like
they-
that more too.
Well, I think they sat
That
Hogan.
meant more.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was a hard guy to find. He's got so many enemies, or had so many.
He
Everyone fucking hates the guy, which is great if you go on the WWE network and watch the tribute. They did like a 4-hour tribute to him. Each day they'd show an hour, and they're interviewing these guys who clearly can't stand him.
Really?
Like Sergeant Slaughter hates him, and it's very obvious.
I think the only guy that liked him was was Sting, because they were best friends and came into the business together.
And even they had somewhat of a falling out. But they're asking Sergeant Slaughter, well, what's your favorite Ultimate Warrior moment? And you could just see him gritting his teeth, and he's like,
I really need this camera time.
and then Ted DiBiase's coming in.
$1 Million Man.
Who's talked shit about Warrior the last 10 years. He was a horrible worker. He was bad in the ring. He was just his promos made no sense. Warrior was. He looked good.
Find a positive.
So, but he didn't look good during the Saturday Hall of Fame speech. He looked like he had jaundice or something. No, I'm serious. He looked he was sweating profusely. And then the Monday Night Raw, he was short of breath. And I think he tried to time dying on Raw, which would have been great.
That would have been great. If, like
fucking Misawa.
on the way up the ramp,
Yeah.
drop into his knees.
And then they
What,
bring
after
out.
he exits, he says his piece and then just
The top
dies?
top of the
Yeah,
stage.
it would have been great TV. I mean, he was going to die anyway, so why not do it on the tube and get some extra viewers?
Oh yeah, that reminded me of. I was just saying this.
Carlos Colon.
No. Hey, listen, I was trying to relate to the subject.
Much love.
Gotcha. Anyways, it reminds me of this Japanese wrestler who died in the ring like a couple years ago. very famous guy, Mitsuhara Misawa. He very famous, and those guys work harder than even the American guys. There's a reason they call their style strong style. They fucking just beat the fuck out of each other. Their backs are worn as shit.
Dude, you can't swear on this podcast.
Fuck you. I don't mean it like that. Much love. Anyways.
What the hell does this story have to do with the Warrior?
I'm just saying, you're talking about that'd be cool if he died in the ring. This guy, Misawa, literally died. He was just in the middle of the match. He got put in a suplex or something.
A suplex?
Yeah, guy suplexed him. Suplex.
Oh, suplex. I'm like,
I'm
what?
a fucking retard.
A duplex. He got put into a duplex.
Yeah.
Downgraded.
Yeah.
Got put into a backdrop and
You really
fucking.
want to get this story out.
Yeah, because I'm not
This
good
is
at
the worst
stories.
story I've ever heard in my life. Only you can make a guy dying in the ring boring. I'm just kidding, dude. So he gets.
No, you're not kidding, but it's cool. Anyways,
So he gets put in a suplex.
put up suplex. He got backdropped and fucking detached his spine and died on the spot.
What
Oh.
a pussy.
If you see how these fucking Japanese guys work, it's insane. I mean, that's how the American guys are working, at least in the indies now. They just fucking this strong style, like hitting each other for real. It looks like the Raid 2 in the ring.
No, I mean, I have seen some of those. Have you ever seen a match from Japan?
No, I've seen their
I like
like
you-
pride fighting or whatever it is,
Oh.
but I've never seen their MMA or their wrestling.
Pro wrestling? Yeah, I've linked you some stuff of them just chopping each other in the chest.
I mean, I can't watch the pride fights, and that's the MMA. It's too. I mean, that's when they didn't test for roids.
Okay. Well, I just saw that was it Fedor?
Oh, that's my favorite.
That dude just I went on YouTube one day and just watched highlights of his because I don't watch MMA for the most part. I don't like MMA fans.
Yeah. it's
A
culture.
and then B, they cycle through guys so quickly that you really need to be immersed in the world to follow along. Like there's a couple guys that stay around for more than a year, but everybody else is like they're gone in 6 months. So unless you know it, you don't know. So I just never got into it. I get out of it. But Pride, yeah. So I watched Fedor like highlights for an hour. Just
he's
like
great.
guys talking all this shit, and he's just standing there like staring at him like who are you?
Yeah,
You know?
he's emotionless.
Yeah, it's like I the Russian mob is my corner man. Like,
Oh,
that's
of
my
course,
cut
absolutely.
man.
Jesus.
Fucking and just goes out and demolishes
How
guys.
about boxing this weekend? Did you watch that?
That guy took it to Mayweather.
Yeah,
Canelo.
that was,
What's
I've
his
never
name?
seen
Canelo.
Mayweather work like that.
Well, that he didn't. He showed him no respect. He went after him.
Good.
Yeah, and then even after the fight, he was like, he did not fight like a man.
Yeah.
Like I would have expected more from the great Floyd Mayweather. This guy's, they're talking rematch
Yeah.
too. So that's,
I'll pay for that pay-per-view.
oh, absolutely. Because I think they go again. I mean, who knows what Mayweather's going through right now, but he should be shaken because he had never been tested like that. I mean,
But he's only got so many fights left, and he gets such a huge chunk of the pay-per-view money now that this one makes sense.
Yeah.
To cash out huge. If you want to make 9 figures potentially, because he'll make 50 or 60 million guaranteed. But if it sells enough, he could hypothetically make 100 million.
yeah.
So take this one on, you'll get enough heat.
Yep.
Because that one fight that we got at the house, what's his guy? That redheaded Mexican guy.
Yeah, Canelo.
Yeah, that's the number 1 pay-per-view of all time now. And this would top that just because it was such an even match, came down to
Oh, yeah.
decision. But I saw the breakdown and the scores and be like,
close.
dude, if this thing ended in the 10th round, Mayweather lost.
One judge scored it even both
Yeah.
ways. So I mean,
You never
it's
know
not
with
split
judges.
Still, it's still unanimous, but
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that was close to even being split. That's something Mayweather hasn't faced.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think this is I don't know, made me excited about boxing again. It wasn't just another Mayweather scores a bunch, which I love. I love how Mayweather fights. I'm completely about the sport of boxing.
Well, yeah, he
Picking points
plays
back
it
up.
like he goes, okay, he's going to attack me from here, so I'm going to hang back and just wait for his weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the most exciting style, but technically speaking, man, that guy is unparalleled.
Yeah.
He just knows how to win. Doesn't matter the style you throw at him. He manages to figure it out. That's why I hope they do a rematch because that could be interesting as shit.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta give it to him. He's a character too. He basically plays things like a wrestling heel.
Yeah.
Are you
Makes
going
us
to bring
wanna
up
see
Carlos Colon again?
Yeah. Isn't he like a young Teddy Atlas on Fight
Yeah,
Night?
yeah, yes.
He just says
The Warriors fucking commentary.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Just wonderful.
So tell me about these Japanese wrestling. They call it hard fights, right?
Or
It
strong
actually
fights.
pretty is cool watching.
Yeah.
But I
sent you some links on Twitter.
I know you send me, some weird shit on Twitter. Just send out some links to this podcast so I can get some viewers from your fucking fans.
What fans?
That's right.
So
don't
you
send
don't
out-
you don't like the Japanese MMA because they're all jacked up?
Well, in Pride, it was too brutal. I mean, like it was because they had no rules. In Pride, you could do foot stomps to the head. You could knee a downed opponent. I mean, it was fucking crazy.
Do they still allow that?
No, in UFC now, you can't knee a downed opponent to the head.
Well, do they own Pride?
They bought it,
Okay,
Oh wow,
so they had
it makes sense.
of course.
So that's
You
why
want to hold a monopoly?
you see a lot of these Pride guys come over from, because they fight in Japan, then they come over and fight in the UFC, and they're used to like the dirtier style, and they don't do well in the UFC
Oh yeah.
because like Vanderlei Silva, he's like a 500 fighter in the UFC because he's used to you could like kick a guy in the head when he's down in Pride.
Oh,
God,
Did a lot of people die?
No one's died
Wow. It's
that
like
I know of.
mushrooms.
I mean, there might have been some amateur guys in MMA.
Oh yeah, they actually actual pro wrestlers tried their
This guy
hands.
loves getting wrestling into every conversation.
I figured it was around the same fucking thing.
Much love, much love.
Anyways,
I've never seen you get exasperated before.
because like I feel like an asshole.
It's-
I'm not-
well, you are, but that's good for the podcast.
You're busting my chops. You're busting
Much
my
love,
chops.
much love.
He's got to tell himself.
We could be,
Exactly. He's got to talk him back.
Yeah, yeah. But this is good podcast. You getting flustered.
Yeah, because I'm not a bad person.
Yeah, you are. But anyway, tell us about the Japanese.
No,
style.
if you were, we wouldn't invite you to
no,
face.
you're a great guy.
Yeah.
Just,
We
know,
love you.
I don't mean to make anything about me. Okay.
It's
no.
too late.
All right, back to my thoughts.
Yeah. Enough about me. Back to what I like.
I can only work from there, man.
It's the truth.
That is so
The truth.
true.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah, exactly. We all only have our own perspective.
Yeah, they would put like my best memory about Pride was it was Don Fry versus this Japanese wrestler Takayama.
Yeah.
And they were it was actually good because bell rings, they're just hammering each other, no defense, just boom, boom, boom. The entire first round, no one got knocked out until like maybe second.
Yeah.
It was insane. Go look that up. Takayama versus Don Fry. Holy shit.
Who's been on this podcast, sitting right where you are.
Oh my god, that's so awesome.
The great Don
I'm
Fry.
not even a big MMA guy, but I know who Don Fry is.
Who's also right now one of the #1 commercial actors. If you
What's-
ever see
He was in
Got
the
it.
Godzilla movie.
he's got an Allstate commercial, and he's got another commercial I just saw last night at the gym. He's got a big, like a Tom Selleck style mustache, and
Okay.
so he plays a biker. Always gets biker parts, and
He was in the Japanese.
So he's taking Alex Moore's roles now that Alex
Basically,
Moore
yeah.
lives in South Carolina or whatever.
and he's really funny. He's got a great sense of humor, Don Fry. So like he does these UFC prediction YouTube videos, and he's got this big titted girl behind him. And,
He knows who he's appealing to.
yeah, no, he's
I
really.
watch those videos. They're on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think they're called the Predators predictions. So Don Fry's are great, but he fought in like the first 1 or 2 UFCs where you had to fight 3 times in a night, no weight class. So
See, I saw those back in the day. Like, I'd rent the VHS
yeah,
and watch. Like, guys are like, yeah, I'm fucking Ultimate Fighter. And there's like 3 or 4 out of the 15 that show up. There's like one tubby fat guy, and there's like one overly skinny guy, and then a couple dudes just get destroyed.
Well,
Yeah, I
think,
watched.
Don Fry's first opponent was this 400-pound taxi cab driver who had no fighting background at all.
He was just a bad.
He looked like Alex Moore, but maybe 6 inches shorter. And Don Fry knocked him out in 10 seconds. They thought he was dead. If you ever look up, but I don't know how you would look Don Fry's first UFC fight.
You can find it.
And
Okay, just watch Don Fry videos on YouTube.
oh, Don Fry's the best. I mean, he fought when it was crazy. Like a guy your size would fight Alex Moore.
Yeah, which is nuts.
Yeah,
and usually the smaller guy would win.
Yeah, there's a. I wish I knew the guys, but there's a video on YouTube of this. I'd say a regular size fighter,
Right.
but he's up against this Goliath.
I know the fight.
You know what I'm talking about?
Emmanuel Yarborough. He was a 700-pound sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
Huge black guy. I
Yeah.
mean, looked like Big Rod, but twice the size of Big Rod.
Wow, that's a big man.
And I know we're dropping like these obscure references.
Yeah,
that
inside baseball.
Someone listening in Canada is like, who the fuck is Big Rod? Well, if you're ever at the Comedy Store late night, he's sleeping in the back.
Yeah,
Just
if
say
you ever
hello
hear
to him.
snoring, follow that.
And the guy was probably my size, the regular size guy. Maybe.
Yeah.
And I think Emmanuel Yarborough went to throw a punch, and he was so fucking fat and massive he missed, and he fell down. And then the guy just starts chopping his head, like just doing it.
Well,
he had no.
At one point, the guy, the big guy, threw him out the.
Yeah, that
like
was
the
before.
cage broke, and
Wow.
threw it, and the guy runs all the way around, gets back into the cage, goes at it again, and he ends up beating the shit out of this big guy. I actually met. Well, I'm sorry. What's that fighter's the smaller one?
The big black guy's name was Emmanuel Yarborough. The guy, the regular sized guy, was Keith Hackney.
Okay, so Keith Hagney, I met his son. His son's actually the one that showed me that video for
Oh,
the
really?
first time. Yeah. And I guess like when he was chopping his head, he had broke his hand, and
Yeah.
like early in the like you see a
Ooh.
bunch of like he just at one point he's just like like hammering this guy's head. Maybe the second or
Yeah.
third hammer had broke his hand, but he had to knock the guy out, so he just kept on. So he's got this floppy hand. He's just smashing over this gigantic skull, and the guy ends up falling asleep. So
What's so funny because you just see him like panicking, like I can't let this guy back up. There's no way this guy.
Yeah.
So he's like making a fist. He's got an open hand. He's like,
Yeah.
dude, it's like just like this wave of like
Those Three Stooges on him. Just
Yeah.
whoop, 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 whoop.
I mean, there's no, and the black guy was just covering up, and it just goes to what we were talking about visually. You would think that guy is going to kill that guy, but and then the Gracies were famous for being very skinny and like.
Yeah, but they had all the holds, the
Yeah.
submission holds, so they got you down to a certain point. You're done.
I mean, I think Hoist Gracie won the first UFC tournament where he had to fight Ken Shamrock, who's just this massive human.
Yeah.
Two other guys who were just as big, and won the same night. No rules. McCain was right. He called it human cockfighting.
It was at that time.
At that point, it was.
Yeah, it was. It was just get in the ring, kill.
I like
Yeah.
watching those early mid '90s. I like
So,
I like
much love, much
early watching those early mid '90s UFC clips, like fucking judo guy and he fucking elbowing the guy.
Well, that's Gary Goodridge.
Oh God, so he just you know what I
That's
it makes me
brutal.
think that I appreciate they're trying to limit concussions and there's part of me that wants that brutality back so badly.
I don't think you'll ever see. I mean,
Oh no, it won't. Not in this day and age. No.
that was the one fight where Gary Goodridge got a guy stretched out, and like they call it the
To
crucifix.
his back, and he's just.
And he's on top of him with his head there, and he's just going like this.
Yeah, he's
12
got his
straight
back.
times.
He's got his back on the guy's
Oh.
torso, and his head. He's nailing this guy with his left elbow in the head
At
constantly
least
until he knocks
12
out.
direct shots to the guy's head. And the refs back then, well, it was just John McCarthy.
Right.
They let a lot go.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, there's a part of me that wishes that brutality, that like from there for pride. But no, I mean we're still getting.
when
good
did
shit.
Joe start working for them?
Joe
Rogan.
very early on. Like I think he was on the famous card where they were supposed to have a UFC card in Buffalo, and at the last minute they outlawed the card, and they had to all fly that night on 2 planes to some shithole in South Carolina.
Oh my god, like the first place they could find.
Yeah,
to
like
have this.
they's like, we got to do this pay-per-view. Everyone's committed, and like they had to throw luggage off the plane because it's like you have all these massive guys, and then there's
Wow, weight restrictions.
yeah, so they're literally throwing luggage off the plane, and they show up in South Carolina. I think that was the first card that Rogan worked.
What year would you say?
Maybe
This was after Fear Factor.
right around then,
Oh wow.
and
Right around when Spike got them.
because there used to be a guy named Jeff Blatnick who was a very famous real wrestler, like Kurt Angle, Olympic wrestler. He was basically the Joe Rogan of of that. But he wasn't obviously as funny as Joe, so the interviews were pretty stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well bring because we already there. I'm sure they have a play-by-play guy.
Yeah, I think
So-
yeah.
bring in somebody of color and add a little something to this.
Yeah.
It could always be worse. It could be Frank Shamrock.
Well, see, I love Frank Shamrock because he was, he's 40 years old. He's got braces on. He was great for TV. And, it was just funny to see a grown man on high def with a nose that way. And, he'll never get in the UFC Hall of Fame because him and Dana White hate each other. So.
What about Ken? Well, Ken's.
I think Ken's already in it. But,
okay.
I think my favorite interview ever was when Fedor was fighting in America. And he didn't have a very good run in America. Just the guys got too big for him to handle. And they had this beautiful girl interviewing him, and he's got the interpreter, and she's asking all these questions in Russia. He's not speaking a word of English. And then the last question, he's like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." Like he could totally speak
English the whole time.
Yeah, and he's just totally fucking with this girl. And this girl's nervous. She's getting like stage fright. Like, Fedor, tell us about your fight with Josh Barnett. And and then Fedor would speak in Russian, and then the interpreter would speak in Russian, and then finally just said, "Yeah, be a good fight."
So why didn't he have a good run? Because you'd think he would dominate.
Well, yeah, I mean, people don't really understand how great he was. Like he went undefeated for 10 fucking years, and he fought everybody.
Just watching those fights, how that guy wouldn't be able to translate and destroy here is beyond me. Because it didn't seem like he was intimidated by anybody. He was as cold as ice. Like as soon as he came in, you're like, this guy's way too relaxed.
Yeah,
and just dismembered. I watched 10 fights, 12 fights. Just like he destroyed that guy and destroyed that guy. Like it was never close. Any of the ones that I saw.
Well, I don't think he, he was so good for so long. I don't think he really, he pretty much just trained with his buddies in Russia. It would be like the three of us just fucking around boxing. He never really had a camp where people pushed him. So he just survived on his talent. Then he came to America, and his first fight was against this guy named Brett Rogers, who was literally just started MMA. He was just a great puncher.
Yeah,
and he had trouble with him. And it's like, oh, that's not good if he's having trouble with a guy who just started.
Yeah, brand new.
And then he fought. His first loss was against this guy Fabricio Verdum, who was big. It was the biggest non-UFC fight ever to be on TV because it was I think it was Strikeforce. It was UFC's competition, and Fedor at first second of the fight, Verdum suckered him into getting on the ground, and he got into one of those wacky jiu-jitsu holds,
and he was done.
We got out. And
okay.
Then he went right back in, which you would never do if you were training properly. Even Fedor,
yeah.
And so he got choked out. And then his second fight, he lost to Bigfoot Silva, who was just this massive. He's got that gigantism disease where they had to take out his thyroid because he's so fucking big. And
Jesus,
the thing that killed Andre the Giant.
This guy always got to get the wrestling. Yeah. So, but yeah, he was. But unlike Andre the Giant, they took it out either too late or too soon. So he wasn't that tall. He's only about 6'4", but he's got Andre the Giant's size head.
Oh Jesus!
Oh God, that must be hard.
Yeah.
So, but he's so big and massive that Fedor couldn't get out from underneath him, and you just see Bigfoot just going like this to his face, and it was just I cried because it was wow, this is the end.
Wow.
And then he fought one more fight against Dan Henderson, who's a very pride guy.
I have heard the name.
Probably the greatest U.S. fighter ever, and he got knocked out by Henderson, who's got knockout power. But, changing of the times.
It's just amazing, though, that he was managed to survive that long without actually, properly training.
Yeah.
Just whooping dudes'
10
asses
years.
for 10 years. You would think that it wouldn't matter. After 10 years, you would assume that he would be able to fight all styles.
Maybe learned a thing or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like the champ now, and the heavyweight champ is this guy, Cain Velasquez. He's Olympic wrestler. No, Arizona State. He was All-American.
Okay.
Is that the guy that beat Brock Lesnar?
He killed him.
Yeah.
Well, there's Overeem, too, beat Brock Lesnar. But
this guy beat him. This was Brock's last fight, wasn't
yeah,
it?
Cain beat him pretty badly. But Cain trains in boxing. He trains in jiu-jitsu. Fedor just had some sparring sessions, basically. So
Smoking cigarettes the whole time.
Well, there's a great clip on YouTube where he's got a fight and he's playing cards. And they're like, "Hey man, you're up next." He was playing he wasn't even warming up. He was playing poker or whatever. And he goes out, beats the shit out of the guy, comes back, starts playing cards again.
Yeah.
And I think he drank quite a bit. Like, he had a booze face body.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was, for as physically active as he was, he's still this tubby dude at his size. You're like, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot of cardio, MMA fighters.
You have to.
And if you're that, like, not that he was chubby, but he was, how would you say, he was undeveloped?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had a sizable spare tire.
Kind of like
So-
Christopher Areola, the
The heavyweight guy?
yeah, the heavyweight.
He's fighting
Yeah.
this Saturday.
Oh no shit! Who?
Yeah. You know, that's, we're talking about boxing being big again. I really think the heavyweight division needs to flourish.
Oh, yeah, without
people
it-
get into it.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the heavyweight division when I'm saying like boxing is, because I do think it is getting a little bit more popular with the Floyd Mayweather, and just especially now it's like, wait, Floyd Mayweather could lose. A lot of people want to tune into that.
But the thing is, you take Mayweather away, who you got left? Pacquiao?
Kinda,
That's it.
yeah.
You take Pacquiao, you got nothing.
And then, the heavyweights, like, I grew up, like, a little older than you guys. So, I mean, the guys I saw fight at Ali, Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis. You just had the Klitschko brothers be like Fedor almost. They just dominated. No one cares.
Well, and they'll never fight each other because they made a promise to their mom they never would. And you're like, that would be the fight that everybody would want to see.
The world would.
I
watch
would
that
pay to
fight.
see that fight just because, okay, it's two brothers, but that would unify the belt, but one is now getting out into politics, so he's abdicating his belts.
Is that Vitaly?
Whichever the older of the two is. I think it is
He's
Vitaly.
also married to that girl.
What,
from-
Hayden
yeah.
Panettiere or whatever?
Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't
well,
know.
it's called the bulge in the back of his pocket. I mean, that guy's. I saw him fight Lennox Lewis at Staples Center.
Oh, he lost.
Yeah, a huge hole in his eye. It looked
Yeah.
like someone had shot him. It was such a, I don't know how it got to be. And Leon Spinks sits down next to me at the beginning of the fight and goes, "Yo, man, what arena we in?" Like, he didn't even know where he was. Like, you talk about concussions.
Oh,
and-
God.
Yeah.
Like, he
That
did
guy
not
went
know.
through Tyson, right?
Yeah.
Well,
He
no,
got
that was
knocked
his
off-
brother.
Oh, that was.
Oh,
his
was that
Michael
bro?
Spinks. This is Leon, the guy who fought Ali and won.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And he had the two teeth, front teeth missing, so he's like, that was like his like signature look. And Michael
It's a great
Spinks,
signature.
well, I mean, it didn't work out for him because he's asking me what arena we're in. But
Yeah.
Michael Spinks, his brother, was the one famous for fighting Tyson, and like as he's walking to the ring, he looked like he was shitting his pants. Which
Oh,
I
he-
do not blame him.
He got beaten, 15 seconds? 20
Yeah.
seconds? I mean, it was.
Yeah.
But more people remember him looking so fucking scared. This was a prime Tyson.
Oh, dude,
Monster. I mean, imagine.
I remember that fight.
I was.
Go
I'm sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you please.
No,
Well, I'm
no,
just saying-
please.
My brother, like, we went to the video store and he rented that fight, and my dad was like, it's over in 20 seconds. He's like, I don't care, because he and I were such huge Tyson fans. Like, we used to play Tyson's Punch-Out, and you can call in a radio station and request songs, and we would request, Fresh Prince's Mike Tyson, just to play. Like, that guy was huge.
Oh yeah.
I remember the interview that him and Robin Givens did for Barbara Walters when there was all the, does he beat you or not? No, we love each. I watched that just because it was fucking Tyson, man. He was huge. He was, yeah. I think it's interesting now that he's got the Broadway play and he's got like all this evidence, but it's just such a weird, like, his trajectory of where he is now compared to where he was. I don't know. He's
Oh man, imagine if he wasn't a boxer.
Oh
Oh, yeah.
I think walking the streets.
He'd be working in the store. And probably elevated to management.
yeah, hopefully.
I always wondered about those guys back in the '80s. We're talking prime Tyson. That, like, you work your whole life for a shot at the title. You fight the guy and become #1 contender, but then you have to fight Mike Tyson. It's almost like, you know what, #1 contender is good enough. I like
Yeah.
that title.
You have to fight him.
Then you have to fight him. It's like, oh shit, what did I do? I did too good. Now I gotta get my ass beat from Mike Tyson.
Yeah, a once in a generation talent.
Yeah.
But I
Remember
mean-
that? What was the thing that happened with the?
The Razor Ruddock when he said he's going to eat his children.
No, what's that?
That would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Mike
because you
said that
believe
to
it.
somebody?
Yeah, yeah. It was post fight. I
Because
think it was Larry
Ruddock-
Merchant asked him.
a lot of people think Tyson's downfall was Buster Douglas, but it was really the first two Razor Ruddock fights because Ruddock was the first guy to stand in front of him and say, "Fuck it, I'll take your best shot and I'll give you some too," and he did. And and then Douglas,
Was this before or after the Holyfield?
That was before.
That was
He went to jail, got out, and then took on
Yeah.
Holyfield,
Oh, okay.
and then yeah.
and then bit his ear off.
But I really think the Ruddock fights fucked with Tyson's head. Was like it was the first era of invincibility, like being shattered. Like, wow, someone's not afraid of me. And then Douglas did his thing. I mean, Douglas took it to him. And
well, it's because he didn't train for it. He showed up in Japan, was just like, I'm going to beat this guy like I beat everybody else.
K1.
Yeah, while I'm here, I'm just going to slay as much Japanese pussy as I can.
Yeah.
Show up to the fight. I mean, he almost pulled a Fedor.
Yeah, I
Fucking
know. It was
just-
very.
Yeah, didn't do anything and then just showed up and got his ass whooped.
And Douglas had his mom passed away 2 weeks before that fight, so he was like fully like, I'm doing this for my mom. And
Yeah.
it's like a Black Rocky. I mean, he was 46-1. So it was amazing, fight, the Tokyo Dome. I love how he mentions K1, trying to get it back to wrestling.
No, but that.
Much off.
Mike Tyson do K1? That's
No,
not
I don't think he ever
pro
did
Wrestling.
K1.
I thought that's what you guys were referencing. K1,
No.
You're
K1's
confusing him
MMA.
with Iron Mike Sharp.
What?
I just remember like Tyson's downfall. It seemed so precipitous. He kept doing these pay-per-views, and me and my buddies would pay for it, hoping he'd win. And he won like a couple bullshit ones against I think it
Andrew
was-
Galata.
Yeah, where did he hit him? And Galata just fell. And you're like, I don't even think that maybe glanced his chin. Maybe. Yeah, there was a couple of those who were just like, yeah, he won, but it wasn't convincing. And just to see like Tyson's not Tyson anymore. It was kind of, I don't know. It's like the death of my childhood on some level.
Well, that's what they did with Fedor. He loses 3 fights in America, and it was like, fuck, it's over. But the Russians wanted him to go out on top. So they lined up these fucking tomato cans for him. And like the first guy was limping to the octagon. Like he was already fucking hurt. And so he won his last 3 fights, and then he retired. But it was like, oh man, these guys are like
Hey,
suckers.
what do you think he's doing for the Russian mob now? Is a real question.
I mean, he makes, it's like a lot of Russian hockey players play in the NHL, and then they go to the cage.